There's something coming down the pipeline for financial markets that everyone should be aware of, and it is the upcoming elections in the United States. Elections have a massive potential impact on the financial markets because of whose administration will do what, how it might impact, so on and so forth, different parts of the market. And today's video sponsor, OANDA, has put together an awesome page that helps us to break down some of the historical patterns that we may be able to get more insights about the markets going forward into this election cycle. As we get started, I do want to just disclaim that this video is sponsored by OANDA. I am very thankful to be doing some videos with them and very thankful to be doing some of this awesome content coverage of the US elections and how it could potentially seriously impact the financial market. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. And also, before we dive into the data, let me just mention that if you're someone looking to trade currency pairs, especially if you're someone in the US, I know there's been some serious restrictions on people who want to trade currencies. OANDA might be the right one for you in terms of a brokerage. I want to encourage you to take a moment to check out the description down below and do your own due diligence to see if OANDA is the right fit for you. I've used them for years myself personally. They are regulated in the United States. The details on that will be found down below in the description as well. Please do your due diligence, see if they're right for you. And now on to the video. So another personal disclaimer I just want to make is that I won't be making any sort of overly biased comments on what my personal political opinions are about this, but please understand, as much as I don't care to talk politics, I do understand the implications that it can have on financial markets, which is why we're going to go through this really powerful data. So we have some stuff here that we should just dive right into, I think. So we have the dollar and how it performed under different presidents. So you can see OANDA's team here has put together just different segmented windows of times where we've had different presidents and we've crossed the US dollar's performance against those different years. You can see the years down at the bottom here. So what we can see here is that we have the chart in front of us, but we've also got some conclusions off of the data here as well. So some of those conclusions from this study were that over the past 6 administrations, the dollar performed best under President Clinton, gaining 19.61% in value during that time. Now, if you're a currency trader, or even if you trade non-currency markets like gold or indices or stocks or options, this can still be valuable insights to gain from this because, as you likely know, a strong or weak dollar has a lot of potential energy on the overall financial market. It impacts nearly everything else in the market, what the dollar is doing. So during the past, again, 6 administrations, the dollar performed best under President Clinton, gaining 19.61% in value. And of course, there are disclaimers here across the whole thing that past performance is certainly not indicative of future results, but studying this stuff can be very interesting and very useful data. The dollar performed worst under President W. Bush, losing 22% in value. Of course, we can see there is the Clinton, there is H.W. Bush, there is W. Bush, right? So that is the early 2000s. The dollar lost a lot of value. In aggregate across all Republican terms shown here, the dollar lost minus 36.17% in value while gaining 54.37% while under Democrat leadership. Very interesting to see that. We've got some coverage here, of course. If you go to this website, OANDA's website, you can find this page and get some more information as well. But there was more here. How do previous presidencies compare? Covering the last 6 administrations, we collected 976 data points to find out. What about NFP, non-farm payroll? With the buoyancy of the labor market often used to judge the health of an economy, what did job openings look like during the past 6 administrations? Again, a very important economic indicator is how well jobs are looking. So let's have a look at some of the job openings data. What we can see here is that during the different presidencies, this chart is interactive. We can see during their terms, and you can actually see like W. Bush's first and second term, Clinton's first and second term, what happened there. And then with Obama, with Trump, and with Biden. And again, these topics are, even saying the names of these presidents, I'm aware, will be controversial to some degree, just to people who have kind of political views. Something that is definitely worth mentioning with the Biden administration is that a huge number of job openings occurred during the kind of reopening event. Doesn't necessarily mean that Biden did a good or terrible job. It's just that you have to kind of take into account that a lot of data sets were really seriously thrown out of proportion with the pandemic, because we had the whole economy shut down and whole economy come back. So there is some data that, of course, can be left to a little bit more interpretation there. But you can see a huge jump in job openings and some decline there towards the end as the presidential administration switched hands during that time. So just at least something to take with a grain of salt. Doesn't necessarily mean one of them did terrible or one of them did well. I'm pretty sure anybody in presidency at the time of a global pandemic outbreak would have struggled with keeping the jobs market at the same exact level. Anyways, GDP positioned as the ultimate measure of economic productivity. How was gross domestic product affected by each president respectively? To date, President Biden boasts the highest average GDP gain. Now, again, trying to remain unbiased with this. Same thing here with the GDP numbers as well as jobs data. There is some skew there simply because of the closing and reopening of the economy. But regardless, what we can see here is that the GDP figures were pretty positive across all of the different presidencies. It's been the last 6 presidential administrations have been a pretty strong time for the U.S. economy. We've seen at least the stock market, right? If you were to take the stock market as the end all be all, it's been flying high for this period of time for the most part. And so kind of cool to just see that over time, those different GDP rates. And again, you can see the skew there is right as you had a huge reopening kind of trigger here, and that continued to show real strong growth in the economy since you had a huge drop off. So that drop off that I mentioned, huge drop off and then huge rally, and then kind of the post reopening kind of still drifted strong for some time. That was both present in jobs and in GDP growth. There was a huge explosion back after a massive drop off in GDP growth. Inflation rate. This is another really important one to a lot of people. And this one goes again to our study here in recency. You might say, well, look, inflation was much lower under Trump. But not so fast, because inflation was starting to tick up, and the effects that took place during the pandemic thing, again, not something that was all of one single president's fault. It's not Biden's complete fault or Trump's complete fault that inflation occurred. The whole world's economy shut down. Supply cuts were huge, and that caused dramatic inflation globally, not just in the US. So inflation rate. With inflation intrinsically linked to monetary policy, how well has each president kept inflation at the target 2% historically? While in office, President Trump kept inflation closest to the US target of 2%. So again, take it all with a grain of salt, because this is during a time in which case there was a ton of money printing beginning during the outbreak of the pandemic that, of course, Trump was a part of. And then the post-pandemic effects, and we saw that inflation really come to roost. Again, not because of only what Biden was doing, but because of the implications of the whole world was fighting a massive inflation war because of all the stimulus checks that had to go into saving kind of the economy, if you will. So as we go into this election cycle, what you can be pretty confident on, and you can also see this in VIX futures, by the way, is a likely increase in volatility as people try and weigh the ways that the market could be positively or negatively impacted by administrations and their approach to what they're going to do next. Is there a strong stance against inflation with the next president, or is there more spending and plans in the work. And how that happens to showcase in the dollar for currency traders will be especially interesting. So again, if we were to take only these past 6 presidents, a simple, again, analysis of the data here showed us that on average, Republicans lost 36% in the dollar's value, while 54% in Democrat. But please understand also, this is a relatively small sample size. OANDA has done a good job disclaiming that this is not necessarily, indicative of future results, or is not indicative of future results. So it is a small sample size in the grand scheme of things, but it is kind of recent U.S. history to look at, and is worth taking a closer look at. We'll leave the link to this down below in the description if you'd like to take a look at it on your own time and study it for yourself. Thank you very much for watching today's video. And remember, if you'd like to check out OANDA and some of their great products, services, and some of the great data that they put out, you can find all of that with the link down below in the description. Thanks for watching. If you're looking to improve as a trader, we've got some cool free resources here that I wanted to share as we close today's video. Down below in the description, there is a link to join our Discord channel or our Telegram channel. And we also have our website, a1trading.com, where traders can get access to free course material to help you improve as a trader. Remember, we are also live Monday through Friday on this channel around 9:30 a.m. US Eastern, broadcasting most live news events and that sort of thing. So hope to see you there. And also, we do have a couple videos here showing up on the screen. If either of these seems like it might be helpful to you, then make sure to click here or here, and we'll see you there.